they benefit citizens, and help them understand that collectively, if I raise your tax dollars by $5, if I can give you a $10 value with that $5, then you're more likely to say, okay, I can go along with that. But we have to develop and redevelop the trust in our city government, in our neighborhoods, so that if you give me that $5 or that $10 or that $5 or $50, I give you twice as value on a long-term basis, and you understand and see where we're going. But you have the right to expect high-quality life opportunities. And I'm very jealous when I see other communities that are doing those things and we're not.
Okay, thank you. The next question, and we're going to do 30 seconds on this because it's kind of somewhat similar to the last question that you just answered. But it says, what is your stand with our fiscal situation? How does the future look for the next 1 or 2 years? What is your stand with our fiscal situation? How does the future look for the next 1 or 2 years? 30 seconds.
I think it's a big mistake to look at financials in terms of 1 and 2 year plans. I know that we have a very good bond rating. I think it's time to take that bond rating and cash it in on investments that will benefit our entire community. I want to see a large shift from focusing projects on bricks and mortar to focusing on services for the people who live here and pay the taxes. I want to make sure that when Junior's out there, he doesn't have to shake the pole to get his ball back. I want to make sure when he goes to the park, it's not overgrown like this, but it looks like this. And those sorts of things are what we need to take care of.
I think one significant thing that we need to do is we have to educate ourselves on the equations associated with our fiscal status. You know, a lot of us don't know that there's different equations associated with the dollars that come into the city. And then when certain funding is cut, it impacts across the board. Depending on what color that money has been painted, or what fund it has been moved from, you know, there's requirements associated with the movement of that money. You know, so it's just like Commissioner Williams said, you can't spend more than you take in. So that's the issue.
Yeah, real quick, remember what I said the last minute and a half ago. And to take off on that particular point, again, I have to work as a part of a team to help each of you understand that you and your children deserve a high quality life. And once we do that, and then we map out and strategize how we get there, from where we are at this point in time and where you want to be next year, 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road. It's a long-term plan. We didn't get here in 1 year, and we're not going to get out in 1 year. Thank you.
All right, in a nutshell, the city's budget, our revenues, they were declining at a pretty tough rate during the recession. Over the last couple of years, they've kind of flattened out, but they still have gone down just a little. How we manage that, though, is to make sure that we, again, live within our budget, make big priorities on how we spend our money, and unfortunately, we have to make some tough decisions in that regard. If you want to look forward to the next 1 or 2 years, I think it's going to probably stay flat in terms of our revenue, and we're hopeful that as we continue to see some of the investments that you see, like down at University of Dayton, there's a lot of things going on at University of Dayton in terms of GE, you see Midmark. Thank you. The always just finance.
Next, we all did that. That was it. That was easy, straight and rough.
Okay. This question here is going to be for candidate Williams. And the reason why I was only going to you is because you're currently in the role of a city commissioner. It says, in terms of the police mobile van, I think it's a truck, I believe it is. why can't we use like Troutwood? I see them in neighborhoods. So,
You said mobile van is what, you think that shows the speed thing, or?
Well, it has a camera.
Okay.
yeah, talk about the trucks, just like what Troutwood has. Why can't we be like Troutwood, basically to have them inside of some neighborhoods?
Yeah, sitting on the corner the first of the month. That was told me that's what they were going to do.
I'm good friends with Mayor Cameron, but Trotwood likes to be like us. So, I'm just joking. Seriously, I got a friend in the back. Seriously, actually, the whole Cameron issue is something we talk to the community about all the time. Commissioner Joseph and I, probably been two of the commissioners have really tried to get a feel for how much technology in that regard the community will allow and they won't allow. I mean, on one hand, people appreciate the fact that it does make a difference. It slows down speeding, it stops people running from red lights. But the other side of the coin, there's this issue that we have to always be mindful of, so we don't want to give up privacy. And so we're on privacy in terms of, if you're on camera all the time, your privacy, you feel like your privacy is being infringed upon. So understand, there's two sides. There are some people who, like you, sound like you'd like us to increase our use of cameras and technology. But trust me, there are other people who call us an awful lot and give us a lot of information about why they don't want to be on camera all the time. So we have to try to balance that for the good of the community and also being respectful to just, rights of people's privacy.
But if
Privacy.
that's the choice of a group, say for instance, the choice of a group on certain kind of street, that they request that.
Maybe I should talk to you about that offline, because I think Commissioner Joseph and I both would love to talk to you
Yeah,
about that.
I had brought that up.
Okay, next question. And I'm just going to clarify that particular question there. I want to tell you that there's legislation at the State House right now to get rid of the mobile vans and the red light cameras. So that will probably go away anyway throughout the great state of Ohio. And I'm on camera right now and say, thank you, Jesus.
Wait. You said you wanted to go away.
That's correct.
You want more.
Absolutely. I understand.
There you go.
So, okay, next question. Now I've never gotten a ticket from him either, but my car did get hit in the back because I stopped at one of those lights and messed my fifth wheel up. So, absolutely. So let that state for the record, Mr. Israeli. Okay. All right. Now, next question. And this is a very serious question, so we're going to allow for a minute and a half. It says, our seniors need a new senior citizens building. Which one of you would work with me, and that's William Lee, to make this happen?
Our senior citizens are the gems of our society, of our neighborhood. My daytime job, I'm a transportation coordinator for the Senior Resource Connection. So it's a ministry that I serve those seniors as well as those with Alzheimer's and dementia. We pick those individuals up and take them to our daycare, and then we take them back home. So there's a love that's associated with getting those individual elders from their homes to daycare and then back. And I have a passion for that. So I will be more than willing to work with you and anyone else when it's involving our elder.
Ms. Lee, this is a question and answer. So if you have a conversation, you need to have a conversation with them afterwards. But we need to hear the responses to the questions.
Yes, ma'am. I will. I'm a senior citizen myself, and so I'd be more than tickled to work with you and make sure we do things that are going to benefit us in our golden years. I see so many opportunities, and sometimes the lack of funding minimizes our ability to do that. And one of the things that we know, we ask sometimes, what can we do? Our local government fund has been cut the last 2 bienniums by the state governor. And one of the things we need to do is to become more politically active at the state and national levels. Just don't stop at electing the president, because those issues are very, very traumatic when those things are cut. And then the city has to make cuts in other areas. See, it's a cause and effect. They're not making cuts just because they want to make cuts. They're making cuts because someone else has cut them. And so we start trying to create a condition within our city where we can generate more resources by improving the quality of life to get more businesses to move in, and you have more tax dollars and you have more citizens who have jobs.
Thank you. And we've talked about this before, and so we are working to try to work that out at Roosevelt Center. As you may know, I was one of the commissions that really pushed for us to revamp our recreation centers and build a new one. And so we were told, or we thought, that that would be a good solution. I talked to friends and seniors, and they told me that we need to look at trying to do something different. So trust me, it is on the radar screen. At the end of the day, we're just trying to figure out how do we work that out. And still, because we're trying to balance inside that center the needs of the center, the seniors, and the needs of our young people. So I'm sure we will get there, but I understand. No,
The sign doesn't even say seniors.
We
The
understand.
sign says recreation, youth program. So, we're the taxpayers, not, and I can use that for youth employment or whatever. I'm talking to but we got to get that senior, we got to.
No, I agree with you.
Hey, Oakwood is getting ready to build a new one.
Okay, Mr. Israeli?
5 years ago, I moved my parents down to Dayton so they could live right across the street from me, so I'm dealing with this every day. It's difficult. I've got to say one thing about South Park that we have that most neighborhoods don't. We have what's called the Hope Art Center. It meets in the basement of the Hope Lutheran Church in our neighborhood, and they have pottery, they have painting classes, they have ceramics classes, and we've done all that within our neighborhood inside the church. And I think that when you heard me say earlier that we have to revamp and reward neighborhoods that organize themselves to do positive things in each neighborhood, this is one of the things we need to do. You also heard me talk about having internet access in each neighborhood so our students can get online with those new digital devices that they're getting from school. And what I want to do is have that place, whether it be a church, in a rec center, in a business, the back room of a business, whatever we find in each neighborhood to make a resource, working together. I want to get our seniors working to help our juniors, because one of the first things my mother did, she came in and moved to Dayton, and she started tutoring the kids that lived down that end of the street. English is a second language, and she worked with those kids, and those kids, they moved away, but they still come back and they bring her food and they say thank you, because they just got here. They were here from Iran, and she spent a lot of time teaching them English and working with them. And I think that those resources in our community are untapped, and I think they're the most valuable resources we have. And I want to make sure that all of us have an opportunity to make not only our community better, but our future community better. So thank you.
Thank you, candidates. This question is specifically for Mr. Israeli. It says, why can't you give our kids a lawnmower instead of basketball nets to teach them how to work with all this grass and weeds in the neighborhoods? This will keep them busy over the summer. A minute and a half.
I'm only one man, and I work. I'm only one man, and I have a full-time job running my business. I also, as I said, take care of my parents. And once I get out of work, I go door to door. I've been a lot of doors in your neighborhood, knocking on doors. And then after that is when it's dark, is when I go and hang basketball nets and clear some of these things. This was Parkside Homes before. This was Parkside Homes after. That was me. You can watch the video. It was done by 2 Dayton Public School students. It's 3 minutes long. It's at hoopsdayton.org. I would like to start youth employment programs. I would like to move the focus not only from sports, but to educational attainment. Culturally, I think education is one of the most important things we have going for us, and I want to focus on it. But you know something? I've run for office a whole bunch of times, and I've never been thanked so many times as I have this time. Because our kids are saying thank you. The parents are saying thank you. When I'm out there trying to fix a busted rim, and there's a 45-year-old barber out there running with 10 kids this tall and one like 15-year-old, and he's coaching them. And he's saying thank you because that's the first time they've had nets out there that he hadn't put up himself in years. And that's over at Gold Edison School. I can only do so much as a private citizen. I can only do so much. I've hung 3 new rims over at Princeton. They can play full court ball there. I've been hanging nets everywhere. I'm doing the best I can. But yes, there's room for more. And yes, I would like to have a youth employment program. But I also want to have our pools open back up. I want to make sure our kids can swim. I want to have sports things, the whole 9 yards. Thank you.
Okay. Now, I'm going to expand that question because we have 2 final questions. But I'm going to use presidential privilege to ask another question, to expand on that question for the other 3 candidates. With the basketball nets being one issue that Mr. Ezrati is doing, and then a citizen is saying, how about teaching the kids to work, basically doing a grass cutting or basically a business, to cut down grass and weeds, we often see inside of the community. If you had to prioritize the basketball nets versus the cutting of the weeds and grass and showing kids how to work, how would you prioritize that? 1 minute.
Well, I would prioritize it with teaching the kids how to use the equipment to cut the lawns. We've got a lot of vacant lawns, okay? But at the same time, we've got a lot of parents who can teach those kids and work with those kids to cut those lawns as well. So I always harp on ownership. We've got to do our part, to help this city overcome where we're lacking. We can't keep pointing our fingers, at what has happened in the past. We've got to do it collectively and move forward. So that would be my prioritization, because if we put the kids to work, there's a lot of lots that could be kept in order. There's money that could be saved, because the city is doing the best they can to cut all these vacant lots. There are a lot of vacant lots, and with the cuts, they just cannot get to all of them.
There's so many needs that our community has, and it's hard sometimes to prioritize. And I respect anyone who takes the time to do anything to help improve the quality of life for our citizens and also for this community. I've worked with young people as a mentor with the Jack and Jill Botellian for, this will be my 38th year of working with African American males and providing scholarships. I've probably been involved in some maybe 15,000 scholarships in my career for young people to go to college and then come back to this community and make a positive difference. I've been a coach in terms of working with young people. I've been involved in the youth governmental programs where I've supervised children in their summer youth work programs. So there are a variety of things that we need to have, but the first thing we need to have, again, is to make sure that our citizens have pride in their neighborhood. If they have pride in their neighborhood, we wouldn't need Mr. Ezrati or anyone else to have to go into those neighborhoods to get that. Anyone could have done that. Anyone should have done that. It shouldn't have taken someone to do that particular issue. And again, I applaud him for taking the time to do that. So I don't have any negatives I'm saying that each of us should have a responsibility to do things in our communities.
Thank you, Mr. Mims. I join Mr. Mims. I mean, it's hard as okay. I join Mr. Mims. I mean, I think that there's so many issues out here that I really do applaud anyone. Everybody at this table does an awful lot to try to help young people. And I applaud Mr. Ezrati, who's next, and criticize him, and I told him he should have did it way before the election. Don't use it as a political ploy, but I think that continuing to do that is a great thing. Mr. Greer here, he does a lot of things with young people. I know that. And Mr. Mims, he did things with young people when I was a young person. I actually was in the vote team with Mr. Mims. So we all do things, and I think it's too many things that the community needs to really prioritize in that way. I will say some of the things I enjoy most is coaching young people. I coach kids in baseball and basketball in my free time. I sponsor kids, they can go to camps, and so I sponsor kids in things they have in their schools that maybe they can't afford. I mean, I think we all do what we can in our own way, and I think other people will step up to the plate and do some of those other things. Maybe it is helping people with lawn service or entrepreneurship, but we all should step up, and I applaud all the fellow candidates here for working hard in the community. Thank you.
Okay, final two questions. And this next question is going to lead into the final question. Because there's only two questions left.
I don't like that final question. It's definitely a show.
All right. And we will let you expound on this for 1 minute because I'm looking at the time. So we will let you expound on this for a good, strong 1 minute. And then we'll give you 3 minutes on the last question. Okay? It says, give us 3 good reasons you think you should make a good commissioner. Give us 3 good reasons you think you would make a good commissioner.
So 3 good reasons. First of all, you guys have known me for a long time, so it's not like I can just tell you something about me you really don't know. But what I really pride myself on is the thing that I always do is I try to use my skills as a person who's had a financial background to help the city and make sure that we do the right things to manage our budgets. And I think we've been rewarded for that. I mean, there's a lot of external rewards that we've seen for that. That doesn't come from us. It's coming from other people who write about our city. The second thing is I've really spent a lot of time in my past working with recreation, working with our young people, working with our seniors. I heard tonight I got some homework to do, and I will do that homework. But that's something that's really important to me, and it always has been. It's why I push so hard for our Rexplex to be built, the Roosevelt Center. And then I think the last thing is probably to me, it's growing in importance every month, is trying to do things to help violence in our community. I think the initiatives that we have around reducing violence in our community is one of the biggest things we can do. And actually, the more I work with it, actually, the more I see it as an economic development tool.
Time.
So the 3 was being physically sound, recreation and youth, and violence prevention. Okay.
I should say, I'm visionary. I have a vision in terms of the kind of things that I like to see for my citizens in this state, in the Dayton community. 2, I am a very, very hard worker in terms of working to make those things happen, and I have a history of demonstrating those things. And 3rd, gosh, it's sort of hard on this one, I'm a collaborator because I collaborate with whoever it is that has a passion for wanting to improve the set of circumstances around them. I'm the one that can pull people together. Many of my jobs that I've had over the years, I've been a liaison. That's that person in between. That's that person pulling the sides together to make sure that we can get the best from both sides and come out of a win-win, or come out to a win-win solution regardless of what the circumstances are. Thank you.
As your city commissioner, number 1, I will continue to be that voice for the citizens. I would be that advocate for the people, for those issues that they have in their neighborhoods, in their communities, continuously. I always have been, always will be. Number two, I will be that individual that will help to keep my colleagues in tune with what the people need. Now, it's not easy to just say that dollars are going to be channeled to the people at every cycle, okay? Because financial cycles do occur, and a certain dollar has to be encumbered for at certain levels, okay? So, but at the same time, they need to know that those dollars will be equitably spread to the citizens for their needs of their services. And number three, reliable and dependable.
Okay, so I just want to restate this. So Mr. Greer said, voice for the people, collaborate with colleagues to make a better community. And what's the third thing? Reliable and dependable. And then can you restate yours for your three?
Yes, visionary, hardworking, and collaborative.
Mr. Israel.
I'm a small business owner who is in the business of creatively approaching business problems and solving problems and communicating and selling people's products. That's what I do for a living. So I bring creative vision to a sales and marketing approach. And everything, you get right down to it, is selling, personal selling. From going on a date to deciding what you want to buy to who you're going to vote for. I am trying to run my campaign very frugally and effectively by being very hands-on. I'm running for under $10,000. That's a big difference from some of the other candidates in this campaign. I'm not for sale. So being fiscally conservative and reliable with the money, so you got creativity, you got that. And last but not least, I am very hands-on. I go out and get the work done. I get out and work side by side with people. And I get people to think positively about their community and make things change. And that's what we've done in South Park, and it's been very effective. That's what I'm bringing to the community.
Thank you. Okay, and this last question, and they have 3 minutes to answer this last question. Everyone should have received some of their literature, right? So we have their literature. You have an opportunity to go home and read over each person's bio, and well, not really a bio, but you know the information they have listed down that will entice you to vote for them. And so you're going to have an opportunity to do that. The Bible says that where there's no vision, the people do what? They perish. And so if that's the case, this last question says this. What is the vision you have for Dayton that will make me excited about voting for you? What is the vision you have for Dayton that will make me excited about voting for you?
Yo, when I worked as one of the chief lobbyists for Senate Bill 272 to improve and build all new schools in Ohio, Dayton obviously was where I wanted us to be the shining star of Ohio. My vision at that time was for us to have probably about 6 high schools that were 712 that would be inclusive of extra gymnasium space and community rooms for not only our senior citizens but also for our young people. And I say that when I say I had that particular vision, because if we have that number of schools in each of our communities, that school begins to be the anchor of our community, like it is in many of these other school districts that I work with. As I mentioned to you, I work with some 50 school districts in 5 counties. And sometimes when they're involved in some of these major athletic events, the whole town is gone because they're at that event, because they are so focused on their children's growth. When we look at how we create ownership in community, love for self, love for your neighborhood, love for your family, then you do a lot of things differently. You know who's coming, you know who's going, you know why. It's not as difficult to get our young people to be concerned about their personal educational development because they see the benefits of education all around them at an early age. We don't have to tell them that I want them to go to college when they're 5 years old. They know they're going to college. They may not know which college they're going to. They may not know what they're going to major in, but they know they're going. Because daddy went, grandmama went, so everybody went. They're doing something. They may not be in college, but they may be doing something else that's viable, that's contributing to that particular community. When those positive factors are up, like recreation, healthcare, housing, education, jobs, when those positive factors are up, then crime is down. Crime is down. Because, again, you minimize the desire for people to do that. Because one of the reasons why people do some of the things they do from a crime perspective is because of low self-esteem. Or sometimes because they don't have a job. Sometimes they're trying to do something to feed their family. Sometimes, we lose some of our grocery stores and some of our communities, unfortunately, sometimes because people get that 5-figure discount at times because they need to feed their families. So again, that's part of the vision that I have to make each community in this city viable, contributing, and to make sure that people know who they are and where they are, and that they're comfortable about being a citizen of Dayton. Vote for Jeff Mims on November 5th. Thank you.
My vision for the city, as a city commissioner, is that those parameters and components associated with equality and justice, that we as a people unify to implement those types of initiatives. That means that we've got to stand up for what we know is righteous. We have to stand up for out and against the injustices that our society, not only in our country, but in this city. Dayton is not exempt. Unfortunately, we are apprehensive about speaking about the racism and the injustices that we're inundated with. If we would have been speaking out against it through righteousness' sake all along, then we would be further towards defeating that same cancer that still exists. We've got to unify to do it. We have to commit to doing it together and pass it on to our children, to our grandchildren, that the significance of them getting involved to fight for the injustices, to help change the bureaucracy that we're governed by, so that we can move towards being that persevering people in the city. And I'm not just talking about African Americans, I'm talking about all people, because it takes all of us to make the world go around. And this community, this city, it is our world. Vote for David K. Greer, November the 5th. Thank you.
For 27 years I've lived in the city of Dayton. And for 20 of those I've been running for office. And I have a different view on how our community needs to be led. And it's not popular with some of the people who've been in power for a long time. I believe in open, honest discourse where everything is up for discussion. I believe that smart people can come to the right conclusion if they're given all the information. That hasn't happened in this community for a long time. We've got, and I'm sad to say this, what I call the Friends and Family Plan running our city. Now, I'm not specifically saying one person here, one person there, but there's a culture of believing that if you toe the line and you do this and do that, you will have a right to be elected. When I ran for Congress, I went to Democratic parties all over 4 different counties. Nowhere else do they ask to pre-screen candidates for a primary. They believe in letting the voters decide. Montgomery County Democrats believe that they should have a screening committee decide. The first question they ask is, if we don't endorse you, will you drop out? They have not trusted the people of the city of Dayton to make those decisions or to have choice, and we haven't had primary in 20 years. This is the first time you've had a chance. And it's new to some of you, the idea of changing the commission and having 3 new people in there that are possibly not endorsed by the Montgomery County Democratic Party. Everybody in the race is a Democrat. But there are some of us that are not controlled by campaign donations, by alliances, relationships, patronage positions, and it's time that we break the hold of this inner cable that's been running our community. Now that sounds negative. And oh my God, you're talking about something that's verboten to speak about. But I've had a vision for this community for 20 years that believes, and I've gotten arrested and taken to jail because I believe that our city commission wasn't operating out in the open. And I won all 5 court cases. I stand for something. I stand for the people having a voice in this community and being listened to and being respected. I think it's time for a change. I think it's time to take the money out of politics because money has corrupted the process. I find the $360,000 that was spent in the mayoral primary to be reprehensible. That money could have been spent on a senior center. That money could have been spent on all kinds of things, but it was spent on yard signs, TV commercials. It was a waste. That's why I chose to do this. Partially it was a reaction to that primary. And you know something? I feel real good about it. And I hope that you take the time to look at, if you can get online, you go look at isright.com and you see the open discussion I've had with people in this community for the last 8 years. And that's what I want to bring to our community. Thank you very much.
Look, it shouldn't take 3 minutes to talk about vision. I mean, obviously, you have my literature, and it kind of talks about some of the things that are important to me. I mean, I really do believe that you have to have people in the commission that understand business and understand how to manage the finances. But that's not my vision. You know, my vision is really about safe communities. As I've told you, for the past 2-3 years, I have really been pouring more and more energy into how do we reduce violence in our communities. If you look around, we've had some really high-profile events in the city. And when those high-profile events kind of hit a climax, it was people like myself, Mr. Forward, Mr. Greer, others who came to the table, and we decided we're not going to take this anymore. We're going to try to do some things to improve relations between the community and the police. We're going to try to do things to give folks who are re-entering our community options and things to do. And we've been working on this solid for about 2.5, 3 years, and I am on fire with excitement about the progress that we're making. Like I said earlier, we went over 9 weeks in the summer without a homicide. My vision is that we will continue to keep track, and we will grow that, and we will grow that. And my vision is we're going to have a year where we're not going to have a homicide at all in the city of Dayton. And once we do that, you'll be surprised at how many other things will take care of themselves. Like I said earlier, that is a form of economic development. I was speaking to some business leaders about a week and a half ago, and I told them this, and you should have seen the excitement on their faces. Wow, Dayton is making progress on the violence issue. If we continue to go down this path, we're going to have a great city, and we're going to have people wanting to come back and people wanting to stay, and this is going to be one of the greatest accomplishments we can have. So to me, 9 weeks is just the beginning. I want to see us take it to a year. That's my vision. Thank you. November 5th, Joey Williams.
Well, we thank the candidates for their time. And just a couple of ending statements here. Number one is I would encourage you to, as we spoke about earlier about the vision that you have for today, that was the last question. The NAACP's candidates night is going to be on September 23rd. Last year we had over close to 200 people at our candidates night last year. We invite you out because on September 23rd, not only are we going to hear from these four gentlemen, but we're going to hear from the mayor candidates, we're going to hear from the school board candidates, we're going to hear from the Jefferson Township School District, they're not called council people, they're called trustees. Okay, so I would encourage you to come to the Dayton Boys Preparatory Academy this coming, September 23rd at 6 o'clock p.m. This meeting started at 7 o'clock, but our meeting at the Dayton Boys Preparatory Academy will start at 6 o'clock. So I would encourage you to come.
What time is the actual canvas party?
The canvas part is actually going to start at 6:45. 6:45. Our meeting starts at 6. The canvas portion starts at 6:45.
Eric, can we plug the thing at the Wesley Center on October 3rd as well?
What's that? There's another canvas night?
There's a school to prison pipeline discussion led by Ms. Randall at the Wesley Center on October 3rd at 6 o'clock p.m. So hope to see you out there too if you're interested in where the candidates stand on violence and changing the way we do things. Wesley Center, October 3rd.
Next month for our meeting, which is going to take place on October the 14th, we will hear from the two mayor candidates. That's Nan Whaley and A.J. Wagner. So we're going to hear from them two on Monday, October the 14th, 7 o'clock p.m. here. The reason I want to go back to this vision is because you're probably going to hear this again at your upcoming meeting with NAACP. And I have to go back to the Bible again. It says, write the vision and what?
Make it plain.
Make it plain. So I would encourage you, each one of you shared your vision. I would encourage you to write your vision and make it plain, because it's going to resurface again down the road. So with that, on the 23rd. So with that, we thank all of you, and we thank Ms. Lee for organizing our canvas night. Let's show her some love. All right, I guess since I'm the president here, I can say, signing off. Have a good evening.